up, Sofa Squad, and welcome to On the Sofa 77. We are live, or I am live. I seem to be on my own, but never mind. I soldier on, and so I may as well get stuck. Get stuck straight into the news that there's been a big week for politics. A lot of stuff happening. So I may as well share our first story. So Home Secretary Suella Braverman tours potential migrant housing in Rwanda as asylum deal remains mired in legal challenges. This is from Sky News, and we've all seen the photo of Suella Braverman laughing like a maniac. The article subheading says this: the UK Rwanda plan was agreed in April 2022 and was intended to send people seeking asylum or claiming refugee status in the UK processed and settled in Africa, but no one has yet made the trip. And as we know, the illegal migration law has passed, which basically means that no one can seek asylum in this country, even if they have a legitimate case for asylum, even if they are victims of modern slavery, and they will be sent to Rwanda without a hearing. So, and Suella Braverman was photoed, laughing gleefully about this, and it boggles the mind. At the very least, think about it. She only invited the right-wing press along with her to Rwanda to cover this story, and she posed for that photo. She was happy for that photo to be published. At the very least, the optics are terrible. I don't understand her mindset at all. And you can see her there celebrating with all the workers holding their blue caps in the air. Unbelievable. The Home Secretary has been given a tour of potential migrant housing in Rwanda as the UK government's deal to send asylum seekers to the country remains mired in legal challenges. Suella Braverman set out to reaffirm her commitment to Rwanda deportation policy as she embarked on the first full day of her trip on Saturday. It is 11 months since the UK agreed to the deal, which would see people who claimed asylum in Britain deported to the Central African nation to have their application processed and, if successful, be settled there. But no one has made the journey yet after a flight was stopped at the 11th hour in June last year following an appeal to the European Court of Human Rights. And so Suella Braverman knows full well that this goes against human rights. This illegal migration bill is not legal, and it's not going to work. The same thing will happen again. It will, it's going to be stopped. Not by lefty lawyers, but by judges who are upholding the law. And another thing about this, what the government are not telling you is that part of this agreement with Rwanda is that not only are people who come over here going to be sent there, but asylum seekers who land in Rwanda, there's an agreement that we will accept asylum seekers from Rwanda as well. So it's a two-way thing, but they're not telling you that. But that part of the deal has been kept quiet for some reason. I'll let you read into that what you wish. And they know it's not going to work. But it's still, this is just red meat for the right-wing voters whose votes they they want to secure in the next general election. Because they've got nothing else left. So but it is, and it's highly unlikely that it will work in practice anyway. And of course, the next story, but Boris Johnson has been in the news. He has been, he's been given a grilling in the, by the Privileges Committee. They over Partygate, and they're trying to ascertain whether he misled Parliament, and this is from The Guardian. It says this: Boris Johnson had a lot to say about Partygate, but did any of it stack up? Nowhere to hide for former PM, as he was finally cross-examined on lockdown gatherings in Number 10. And there's a short clip here. So let's see if we can play this.
Having your identity stolen, you often don't know it's happened. All that the perpetrator needed was my name, address, and my date of birth. That was it. It was just those three simple bits of information was needed to set up an account with £3,000 worth of credit. You've got the initial emotion of almost like shock, and then fear and almost vulnerability.
Yes, yeah, it's a bit long. Anyway, here we go.
Say to you, hand on heart, that I did not lie to the House. Now, everyone knows that there are some features of this proceeding that are extremely peculiar. I have the utmost respect for you, the chair, but you've said some things about this matter before reading the evidence, which are plainly and wrongly prejudicial or prejudge the very issue on which you are adjudicating. I agree with what you said at the outset. It is your job, in which I want to help you to understand why I said what I said to Parliament and whether I deliberately set out to deceive. And I emphatically did not. If it was obvious to me that these events were contrary to the guidance and the rules, then it must have been equally obvious to dozens of others, including the most senior officials in the country, all of them, most of them like me, responsible for drawing up the rules, and it must have been obvious to others in the building, including the current Prime Minister.
Okay, so let's leave it there. The article says this: after 16 months, Boris Johnson was finally forensically cross-examined over Partygate live on TV and for nearly 4 hours. Previous attempts to do so in brief media interviews or through questions posed in the Commons chamber allowed him to obfuscate or run down the clock. But in front of the Cross-Party Privileges Committee on Wednesday, there was nowhere to hide. His explanations were earnest, but did they stack up to scrutiny? And I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop sharing there, but yeah, he was put under a lot of pressure. They really grilled him. You know, not just Labour MPs, but Tory MPs as well. And I struggle to see how he can come back from this. But we'll have to watch this space and find out. Let's move on. Met Police found to be institutionally racist, misogynistic and homophobic, according to The Guardian. Author of Landmark report says Met can no longer presume that it has the permission of the people of London to police them. The article goes on. The Metropolitan Police is broken and rotten, suffering collapsing public trust, and is guilty of institutional racism, misogyny, and homophobia, an official report has said. The report by Louise Casey, commissioned by the Met after one of its officers abducted Sarah Everard, taken her from a London street in March 2021 before raping and murdering her, is one of the most damning of a major British institution. The 363-page report details disturbing stories of sexual assaults, usually covered up or downplayed, with 12% of women in the Met saying they had been harassed or attacked at work, and 1/3 experiencing sexism. I mean, this is damning. In my opinion, the Met is no longer fit for purpose. It needs to be dismantled, and something better needs to take its place. I can't see how anyone can trust the police, the police force in London and or even the police at large, again after this. This is terrible. This is this is absolutely appalling. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And fine, I think since there's no one watching and since there's no one here with me, I think I'm going to just share one more story, and then I'm just going to wrap things up. There's one more story that I just want to share with you guys, which I think is important. Labour accused of still not engaging with hierarchy of racism claims. Author of report into party's culture voices concern anti-Semitism is taken more seriously than other forms of racism. And there's a photo there of Martin Ford, KC, who produced the report. There was who was commissioned. It says the article says this: Labour has been accused of still not fully engaging with claims that anti-black racism and Islamophobia were not taken as seriously as anti-Semitism by the senior lawyer who carried out a report into the party's culture. Martin Ford, KC, who was commissioned by Keir Starmer to investigate allegations of bullying, racism, and sexism, expressed concern about the party enabling a hierarchy of racism. Speaking to Al Jazeera, the senior lawyer said the party under its current leadership had still not fully engaged with claims that anti-black racism was not taken as seriously as anti-Semitism. Last summer, Ford published his 139-page report that accused Labour of in effect operating a hierarchy of racism or of discrimination. Responding to the inquiry at the time, a Labour Party spokesperson said the report detailed a party that was out of control. I mean, this is quite damning. And I'm surprised, shocked that the mainstream media has not, for the most part, has not engaged with this report, because it shows that there is still a problem with racism in the Labour Party, and that the Labour Party are not dealing with it. They don't seem to be engaging with this, with this report at all, and that should be cause for concern. And the fact that they clearly have a that there clearly is racism in the Labour Party, a political party that historically people of color and Muslims have in the past wanted to vote for. This is bad. It's terrible. They really need, the Labour Party really need to get on top of this. It's not good enough to say that they have rooted out anti-Semitism if they haven't also rooted out racism against black people, against other people of color, and against Muslims. And by the way, they haven't rooted out anti-Semitism. More Jews have been expelled from the party under Starmer than ever before. So anti-Semitism is still a problem in the Labour Party as well, and they need to face up to that and deal with it, and root out all forms of racism. But they don't seem to be doing so. Anyway, that's all I've got to say for now. I'm gonna leave it there. Until next time, bye for now.